picked up another project to work on. As you can see, it's on the trailer. I was going to film, but they had dogs barking there and wouldn't have been able to hear much anyway. But we'll get this home and get her unloaded and take a closer look at it. Alright, we made it back. What we got here, I believe the guy said it was a 93, but it's a Polaris Sportsman 400. And it is four-wheel drive. There's the drive shafts on the front. Liquid cooled with the radiator. It's a two-stroke. Of course, it's an automatic tranny, forward and reverse. The guy told me that when he bought it, it ran and then the carburetor messed up on him. So he bought a brand new carburetor and put on it, which is right there. And he also put a brand new spark plug in it. Then he tried to restart it and it wouldn't do anything. He ended up killing the battery, so he went and bought a brand new battery, which is on it. And he said after doing all that, he could never get the thing to fire back up and run, so he gave up on it. Put it up for sale, and I found the ad, so I went and bought it. So whether this runs or not, I don't know. It does crank over by hand. The battery is dead. It won't do anything when you turn the key on. I don't know, maybe the fuse is blown. I haven't looked at it real good. Maybe the connections are bad. But anyway, all the tires hold air except for this one. It's got a hole in it, which he showed me. It was aired up when we rolled it on the trailer, but I'll stick a plug in it to fix that. Has the headlights and that light. Demand four-wheel drive. It does crank over with a pretty good compression. Forward and reverse. The plastics are all good. Has the stock mufflers, that hasn't been messed with. Got all of that stuff. And I got some parts in here for it, which is the seat. Here's the gas tank. Air filter box. He gave me another brand new spark plug for it. The old carburetor is in here somewhere. This here is the body panels for around the gas tank. There it is. Here's the old carburetor. And some carburetor parts. The needle and things yet looks like. He gave me a tube of this stuff. For sure, there's a bracket. There's all the miscellaneous nuts and bolts from when we took all this apart. So let's get this off the trailer and into the shop and tear into it and see what we got. First thing, I'm going to get some air in the front tire to make it roll easy. Yeah, got some air in the tire. Right there's the hole. Looks like a nail or a screw poked through it. We'll get that fixed real quick. Okay, well before I do anything with the battery, I want to show you something. The guy has the battery leads hooked up backwards. See, this right here says positive. This is the negative lead. And this here is negative, but it's got the positive wire which goes to the solenoid hooked up to the negative. It ain't gonna fire up and run like that. I'm gonna have to switch those over. Hopefully it didn't do any damage. Alrighty, getting back to it today. I went in and took the back fender off just to give more room and be able to clearly see what I'm doing. You can see now I've got the battery hooked up correctly. The negative wire going to negative. The positive wire is going to stretch over here to positive. However, when I hooked this up, the battery charger started shorting out and it stopped. So I'm thinking when they had this battery hooked up backwards, something happened with the wiring and it's shorting out. So I need to start tracing the wires, see what's going where, which ones are shorted out. And of course you got all of this wired mess. It does look like a few little chew marks on some wires from mice, so maybe that's just what the problem is. That'd be nice if it was. I did get on the internet and I printed out a diagram of this box where all the wires are and what goes where. So hopefully I can trace that down. This one is a circuit breaker, and there should be another one, yeah, right there, going to the back. Which what I found, this back one, it just goes here to this terminal and just stops. Which this wire here is coming from there, and somebody's got it disconnected because it's supposed to hook to the battery. So that isn't even hooked up to cause any kind of a short. So it has to be off of the starter solenoid. Have to be this little red one, and it'll probably go through that circuit breaker, and then it'll go on up into the box. So I can show you real quick what it's doing. You can watch the gauge on the starter when I touch this. It's going all the way over, which is showing that there's a short in the wiring. And the only one that's hooked up to this is this little red one. This is a starter solenoid. It only activates by this switch, which then activates the wire going down to the starter. Well, after doing some testing, I found the problem. It's the voltage regulator down here. Not sure if I can zoom in and show you. You can see right there, if it's going to focus. Looks like it's melted. That shiny black stuff right there. So my guess is when the guy hooked the battery up backwards, that fried the voltage regulator. So I took the battery out sitting over there. I'm going to have to get a new regulator for it in order for the electrical stuff to work. Alright, well first of all, let's see if it's making a spark. I think that's where you'll be able to see it. I'm going to just pull the rope because the battery doing anything. Let's see what we get here. Oh yeah. This is making a good spark. It's got plenty of compression. Sounds like a friggin' clown thing. Well, you know what that means. Let's dribble some gas in there and see what it'll do. I'm just going to shoot some carb cleaner in there. Now, doing that for a quick test fire. This will let me know whether the motor's going to run or not. Alrighty, fingers crossed. That's on, key's on, it's in neutral. Cool. It'll crank over. However, this thing still runs with that because it's the stator makes enough juice to run the spark. So I won't be able to do any more until I get the regulator. I went ahead and put the air filter housing back on just to keep the mice out. I'm going to have to cover that up. But anyway, there's a little update on what I found out about it. Have to get a regulator and stick it on there and continue on with this. I did check the oil tank. It's full of oil. And I checked the radiator. The cap is underneath this thing. This radiator's full. I don't know if the radiator fan will kick on because I need to trace the wires back and then I'll just hook the battery up to it and see if it kicks on and runs, which I'm guessing it will. As far as the lights, same thing with that. But anyway, I'll be back when I get the new one.